Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own personal struggles, having borderline personality disorder. I talk about narcissism, I talk about bipolar, anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder. I talk about different therapies like DBT, psychoanalysis, psychodynamic. I talk about my experiences with unethical psychologists, schizophrenia, and a plethora of a lot other topics. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology, so I cannot diagnose you or I cannot give you a professional opinion. And in return, I only ask you to please be kind and respectful in the comments below. Be kind to me. Be kind to other people who comment. We don't have to agree on everything, but we do need to show respect and kindness. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Please hit the subscribe button right there. On the right, it's 100% free. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. And if you want me to talk about something, please, I take requests. And today I'm doing a request. Someone asked me to talk about rejection. In my last video, someone asked, can you please do a video on rejection? And I love when you people share your stories in the comments. Tell me about your own personal experiences. And tell me what you want me to talk about, because this channel isn't just my channel, it's your channel too. It's for both of us. Now, rejection affects everybody. No one comes out unscathed. Everyone in their life is gonna face rejection at some point in their lives, okay? Some of us more than others. And some of us, especially me, because I have borderline personality disorder, I have a severe abandonment issue. So rejection affects me very, very deeply. I become traumatized by rejection because of my borderline personality disorder and my deep-seated fear of abandonment. When someone rejects me, it hurts me immensely. It's like peeling off my skin. It's just like peeling off my skin. That's how much pain I'm in when someone rejects me. But I just want people to realize one thing. Rejection isn't usually about you. It's usually about the other person, okay? And I'm gonna get into that. We experience rejection right away in our childhood, okay? I can talk about my son. He was very upset when his best friend rejected him. His best friend moved away. They used to live in Boston. They both lived in Rosendale, and they both, they met in kindergarten. And some people, my mother-in-law, she had a best friend from, I believe it was kindergarten all the way through her life until their death. Some people keep friendships from grade school, even as far back as kindergarten. Anyway, they had a lot in common, all right? They both had learning disabilities. They both were in the same class. They formed a fast friendship. I was friends with the mother. We used to go out together, up her house, they'd be up our house. They had this cute little, my son had a cute little hamster they used to put in their fire truck. They'd make the hamster, my son had a toy fire truck, crawl up the ladder of the fire truck. They did all sorts of, but anyway, then he moved. I'm not going to mention names or anything here because I want to protect my son. He moved to another town that wasn't that close. It wasn't that far, but wasn't that close. And his best friend got involved with other people in that town. And then he just kind of didn't want anything to do with my son. And my son's birthday was coming up, and he invited him because it was his best friend, and he wouldn't come. And So that was the first sign of rejection. And my son must have been like, I'm going to say maybe like 5 or 6 years old, kindergarten, first, like that. So that's pretty young. And that really, really hurt my son, okay? Now, of course, when someone rejects us, we take it personally, right? It affects who we are. We question our own identity. I'm not lovable. He doesn't like me anymore. I'm not worthy of a friend. No one wants to play with me. Like Charlie Brown, right? That kind of thing with Charlie Brown. But like I said, okay, I want to instill this in you, my subscribers or my listeners. It's usually not about you. It's about the other person. So it wasn't so much about my son, okay? It was that this other guy moved to a new town. He was, introduced to a lot of kids older than him. So he hung out, and I heard this from other people for the grapevine, okay? He hung out with older boys who were like maybe 3-4 years older than him. So he kind of got into a tough crowd, and he changed. So he wasn't the same person or same boy that my son was friends with when they both lived in Rosendale. He had changed and made new friends because of the changes, he changed. And because of that change, they grew apart. And this can happen with plenty of people. Best gal pals, say you're married, you have children, and then one of you divorces and starts dating. That happened to me with one of my friends. And then you find nothing in common. Your bestie is back in the dating circuit while you're with children and a husband and doing family vacations and going to zoos and parks. And your best gal pal is going to nightclubs and, going, with her, new boyfriend and everything, buying like Victoria's Secrets, lingeries, and like you two, like really, like you've diverged, you know what I mean? It has nothing like to do with you personally. It means that they have changed. Their lives have changed, okay? Situations in their life are no longer the same, okay? So they're going in a different direction than you are. And it has nothing to do with you as a person, that you're not lovable, that you're not likable, like that. It has to do with, they're going in a different direction now. You're not on the same path. And that's what it has to do more often than less, okay? More often than less. So also, I can't believe this happened again. Where, dear, I'm outside and all of a sudden, it's not even windy today. Sorry about that. Sorry I made you fall for me. So rejection is often a consequence of someone else's expectations. You see, like case in point, you're best friends with someone and from high school, okay? Now, your best friend goes to college, all right, and you don't. You get a full-time job, and your best friend's away studying really hard while you're working all day. You want to go out and party, and you call your bestie, and she's saying, oh no, I have a class at 8 o'clock, I got to study for an exam. And then she talks about chemistry and biology, she's going to be a doctor or something, and you're like, huh? You know what I mean? It's just that the perils of doing outdoor videos, but I love it, isn't it? It's just so peaceful and relaxing here. I love it. This is my little spot. So it has to do more that, your friend has these unmet expectations. She expects you to go out clubbing with her because she's working, she's single, she's working, she's not going to school, and you're going to college trying to become a doctor, and you're serious about your studies, and you're not going to go clubbing with her. You have early morning classes, and maybe she don't have to start work till 9. She's a 9 to 5 gal or something, but you gotta get up very early. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people with unmet expectations also, that's where rejection can come in. Like, for instance, you get married. You think it's all about, romance and love, and you're planning your wedding, but you don't plan your marriage, You both say, oh yeah, we want to have children and everything. And then when you actually do have children, say the husband doesn't feel like, gee, my wife doesn't give me any more attention. The children always come first. Our sex life went down the drain, We hardly have sex, maybe once or twice a month. We used to have sex 3 or 4 times a day, So, unmet expectations. But you can't have the same expectations you did before children. You see what I'm saying? If you're a couple and you get married, and you have like these expectations of what marriage is supposed to look like, well, and maybe your marriage fit that, but then you have children and you still have the same expectations on your spouse who works full time. Now she's got 2 or 3 children, and she's got to come home, help them with their homework, cook the dinner, do the housework after working full day. It's a lot different than when you were both without children and you came home and you only had each other to cook for you and your husband. No children, in the way, and you could, you're less tired. You come home and relax, have a couple glasses of wine together, romantic dinner with candlelight. But now you come home, oh, I gotta help Bobby go to soccer practice. I gotta help Susie with her homework. I gotta get dinner for 4 or 5 people. And then at the end of the day, you're exhausted. You just want to go to sleep, and your husband's like, well, what about me? What about my needs? And it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. It just means that your circumstances, there's a key word, your circumstances have changed. But your husband's feeling rejected because he has expectations that you no longer can fulfill because your circumstances have changed. Now you're a mother of 2 or 3, as well as a full-time employee, as well as a housewife. You have to cook, you have to clean, you have to do laundry. Now there's not laundry for 2, but maybe laundry for 3 or 4. So, like I said, rejection isn't always, most likely is not about you. That you're not lovable, or that, something's wrong with you. It's usually about the circumstances in your lives have changed. Okay? So you're also not on the same path. You've grown apart from each other because of life circumstances. In the instance with my son, because he moved into a different neighborhood and met older children. Or in the case with a married couple who have children now, they're in a set of different circumstances. They're responsible for other people besides themselves. Or like a friend, one friend gets divorced, situations like that. Or one friend goes off to college and another one, works full time, and, one becomes engaged or married and the other one is single and can't really relate. They still want to go clubbing, but the one who's married now says, I don't do that anymore. I'm married. I stay home with my husband. I don't go clubbing. A lot of times like that, I felt rejected by my parents, which is horrible. And it probably wasn't personal either. My parents had severe mental illness, okay? My mother was a narcissist, and my father was a paranoid schizophrenia, and they had their own full plate of mental health issues. I felt rejected because my mother didn't know how to care for me. My father didn't either. It's not so much that, I wasn't lovable, but as a child, I didn't know I wasn't lovable. I felt rejected because they couldn't deal with me. My mother couldn't deal with me because she was emotionally crippled. She didn't have the capacity to deal with anyone or anything. But it wasn't because I was a difficult child. I wasn't. I was very shy, and I was a very quiet child. It had nothing to do with me, and it had everything to do with her. See? So I just want y'all to realize that, rejection is about the other person, or the other person's circumstances have changed, okay? And people have unmet expectations. It doesn't mean that you're not lovable, that there's something wrong with you. I felt rejection from my parents. I felt rejection from my gal pals a lot of times when circumstances have changed. I felt rejection from shrinks who thought I was too demanding. They couldn't, because I'm borderline personality disorder, they said I was too intense, too emotional, too this and that. It was because they couldn't handle that type of patient. It was their own inadequacies. It wasn't anything to do with me being a borderline. It had everything to do with them. They couldn't handle that, even though they were trained as psychologists and had a doctor's degree to be able to handle any type of patient. It was an inadequacy in them, not anything to do with me. And I just want you to remember that, okay? You are lovable, all right? It's not you, okay? It's the other person. Sometimes the other person sees something they don't like in themselves in you, and it scares them. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please comment. Please tell me, how you dealt with rejection. I dealt with rejection by realizing it's not me, it's them, It's circumstances that have changed. That's how I've dealt with it. And if you want me to do any more videos on other subject matter, let me know in the comments and I'll cover those too. All right, take care. Have a great day.